All right, well, thank you all for being here today. My name is Charlene Marr. I'm the president and CEO of Blue Cross of Idaho. This event has been years in coming to life, and Sanjay, my good friend, who you will get to meet and he will speak a little bit more intimately, reminded me that he and I started this conversation almost 3 years ago. Jim Everett and Doug Brigham will tell you our conversation with Blue Cross started 7 years ago. But in reality, Blue Cross of Idaho and College of Idaho have been partners for 77 years. So our commitment to this community, our commitment to serving all, goes way back 77 years. I had the privilege of meeting Elaine Baylor just a few minutes ago and asked permission to speak about her husband as if I knew him, and I didn't want to be disrespectful. I wish I had the opportunity to meet him. Many times I've spoken about my mother not being able to go to school and be educated. She was first generation into the United States. Her mother spoke Gaelic. She was the oldest daughter, so she had to stay home to raise her siblings and help her mother. So education was critically important to her. I'm a first generation high school and college in my family, and many of us have a story that's similar to that. It's not easy. It comes with an awful lot of pain. But when I read Elgin's story, and growing up, being born in Washington, D.C. during a segregated time, not being allowed to play on white basketball teams or even a mixed race basketball team, you know, the dignity and the honor that he held himself to really achieve what he's achieved. And no one in this room knows the hard work, the passion, the pain, the hurt that went into that more than his lovely bride of 44 years, Elaine Baylor. Diversity, I don't really love the word because you can assume it means diverse, but it also means division. I like inclusion because I like interesting people. My mother once said, if we were all the same, how boring would we be? And so I love all types of people. I love serving all. I love working for a mission-driven organization. So College of Idaho, why College of Idaho? They have believed in all for 77 years. So when Elgin could not be recruited by colleges because they did not recruit black basketball players, he actually got a football scholarship to College of Idaho, which is fascinating because he never played football. So, you know, it really doesn't matter how you get in the door, as long as there's a person, an entity, someone that's willing to help you get in the door, and hold your head up high as you move through that door. There are so many people in this world that will tell people why they cannot. They will tell them no. They will tell them they're not good enough. They will tell them they're not the right type. They'll tell them they're not the right gender. They'll tell them, and believe me, I was told I suffered from the female syndrome. I don't know what that is. But anyway, when you hold your head up high, and every article that I read about Elgin said he was dignified and proud, and he was an honorable man. So to be here today, to bring all of the CEOs of Idaho together, and let me tell you, for years we've been talking about this type of an opportunity and how we can work together to create a better Idaho. So whether it's Garrett Lofto at Simplot, Vivek at Albertsons, Nate, George, Tom, Odette, Chris, you name a CEO, and this is a passion of theirs. And Sanjay is one of those individuals that has really galvanized the group to make sure that we moved together in a very powerful and powerful, impactful, and we wanted results. We didn't just want to talk about it, we wanted to make sure there were results. You combine that energy, that power, that influence with the College of Idaho's mission. A third of their students are of a different race. A third of their students are first generation college. 60% are Idahoans. We need to create an environment in Idaho, one that is welcoming from all over the world, the best and the brightest, bring them to us. And then our students here in Idaho, let's give them the opportunity to grow and be the best they can, and don't ever let someone tell them no. And so today I am proud to introduce Jim Everett, and he will help us launch the Elgin and Elaine Baylor Scholarship. So thank you, and my good friend Jim Everett.
Those of you who know me, I hope I can keep it together today, because I look out there and I can't tell you how proud we are today to be here. And I got to start by thanking Charlene from day one, and that's a story. Catch her later to tell you the story about the first time we met. And how Doug and I kind of bumbled through that, but ended up with a over $1 million commitment, not because of the way we behaved, but because Charlene stepped up. It was Charlene's idea to have an event here on August 30th of 2022, where we assembled leaders from Idaho, CEOs, to talk about a vision that had been launched far before any of us. And so today, thank you to Charlene, all the CEOs that stepped forward. I'll make some comments about Sanjay, but now I want to talk a little bit about why we're here. And Provost David Douglas is out in the audience. He granted me the authority to teach some history today. So I don't think I'm going to be on a 10-year track, though, but I'm going to do my best here. So I'm going to give you a little context around the Baylor Opportunity Fund that we're going to talk about today. It goes back to our founding. Let them come, let them all come, and we'll see what they can do. Those were the words of William Judson Boone when we started the college in 1891. Our first graduating class was all women. We've had 8 Rhodes Scholars in our history. They come from places like Oakley, like Arco, and most recently from Pocatello, Idaho. Students that didn't know what a Rhodes Scholar was when they came to the college. Every one of them needed an opportunity, a financial hand up, to have an opportunity to get an education, and they ran with that. Today we're the most diverse, inclusive, welcoming 55 acres in the state of Idaho. Come have lunch at the College of Idaho. If you're having a bad day, Doug and I say this every time, come to the College of Idaho, sit down and have lunch with these students. You'll be blown away. You will be much more optimistic, much more hopeful about where the world is going when you sit down with these young, amazing leaders. We're recognized as #1 in the nation for social mobility. Basically, that's by U.S. News and World Report. That basically says we take kids of low economic means but have high potential and get them to the college, and we get them through graduation and on to careers better than any place in the country. We are proud of that. That's in our DNA, it's in our history at the College of Idaho. It's nothing new to the college. But now I'm going to take you back to the year 1954. And here's where I'm going to give you a little historical context. 1954, the year of Brown versus Board of Education. I'm old enough, I was only 2, so I really didn't know what was going on, but I've seen videos. I've seen what happened when we tried to desegregate schools in Little Rock, Arkansas. Go watch some video. It was awful to see what had to happen to try to just desegregate schools. It'd be another 10 years before civil rights legislation was passed. But it was a year that Elgin Baylor, and the photos up here, and 5 other African Americans came to the College of Idaho. And Charlene already talked a little bit about this, but Elgin Baylor at that time was the best basketball player in the world. There were no videos. We didn't know that. We knew we were getting a pretty good player, but we didn't scout people. He arrived on campus, as Charlene said, to play football and basketball. All the guys were recruited to play football and basketball. And the story, now I got to tell it. The reason he didn't play football is it was a muddy day. They went into the gym because they didn't want to be out in the field messing around in the mud. Usually football players don't mind that, but the coach wanted to take a day off in the gym, and he saw Elgin in the gym just playing. And he said, I think we're just going to have you play basketball. And he did. Why did he come to the College of Idaho? Why did these folks come from Washington, D.C., sight unseen? We were the only place in the country that would offer an opportunity for a student of color to play on an integrated team. I am darn proud. I had nothing to do with it, but I'm darn proud to be associated with an organization that did that and continues to do that for students that just need an opportunity. More history. It'd be 10 more years, actually 12 more years, before Kentucky integrated its team after losing to a team that started 5 African-American players, Texas, El Paso. It would be 16 years before Alabama football integrated its team. And they did it because they had to be competitive. We did it because it was the right thing to do. As he recounts in his book, Hang Time, and I'd really encourage you to read this book. It's great. If you don't read anything else, read chapter 4 called Kount. It's a chapter about his experience coming here. It was the first time he ever drank out of a drinking fountain that wasn't for blacks only. First time he was ever in an integrated classroom, integrated cafeteria, integrated dorm room. It's the first time he felt welcoming and included by everybody on the campus. Read his own words here. There's a quote from Elgin. It's not in this book, but we found it in another place, and it really speaks to his experience at the college. He says, about his time at the College of Idaho, it says, it feels like I've wandered into a private and exclusive members-only club, but rather than feel intimidated and excluded, I feel invited. 1954. That was the launch pad for everything else that came after that for Elgin. And I use the word launch pad, that little pun intended. If you ever watched him play, launch pad, hang time. Everything that came after that, it created the opportunity to have hopes and dreams, and he ran with those dreams and became one of the all-time greats. If you're a younger person and you don't know about Elgin Baylor, Google him. Phenomenal basketball player, better human being. Everything that's come after. You hear about Jackie Robinson in baseball. Elgin Baylor and a couple of other players were the Jackie Robinsons of the NBA. Tonight we're going to show a video of Magic Johnson talking about those players get it. They would not be here without the Elgin Baylors of the world. So today what we're going to be talking about is the Elgin Baylor Opportunity Fund and what that does. We are going to create full ride scholarships, full tuition scholarships, 4 years for students, and you're going to meet the first student in a few minutes, for 44 students in perpetuity. The number 44 has some significance. Elgin's number on our team was 15. In the NBA, he was 22. It's been retired by the Lakers. He has a statue on front of the Staples Center. His sidekick was a guy named Jerry West, who's actually the logo for the NBA. Maybe, arguably, the best duo that ever played in the NBA. Elgin was Jerry's mentor, and Jerry gets choked up when he talks about, maybe he's a little like me, but he gets choked up when he talks about Elgin and everything that Elgin did for him in his career. So we're going to provide opportunities for students. That part isn't new. We've done that for our entire history. What's new is we're going to be able to fund those students. You know, when you're at a college, colleges are businesses too, and we've almost been too great in that area. We've given away a lot of unfunded scholarships. We have a hard time turning great students away. But now to have the funding to fully support 44 students, when we get this thing fully funded, is just going to be amazing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the other person who's been just a huge leader in this. When we talked about this initially, immediately Sanjay and Micron jumped on board. They were the first to step up with a leadership gift to make this thing happen and to rally all of the CEOs, which didn't take a lot of rallying. Everybody was on board. We haven't had to twist arms. We haven't Everyone we've talked to has gotten on board immediately with this project. You all know about, I'm not going to try to go through his bio, what he's done. I mean, bringing $55 billion of investment into this state, being a leader on issues like this, making sure that the understanding we all have that we need to attract and retain all the talent we can in this state, and the only way to do that is to provide educational opportunities for those students to come work for great companies like Micron and Blue Cross and Simplot and all the others that are here today. So with that, Sanjay, thank you very, very much for all of your support, and thank you all the CEOs.
Thank you, Jim, for that kind introduction, and really sharing the history of College of Idaho. Absolutely mind-blowing that first graduating class was all women, and how this college over the years, over the decades, has really supported diversity and inclusion at its campus before many other institutions even adopted that. So extremely impressive, and we are so proud to be associated with College of Idaho. And Charlene, it was a few years ago, good pre-COVID times, I think, when you gave me a call and specially set up a meeting to talk about the opportunity here, pursuing this diversity and inclusion objectives of Micron at College of Idaho. So thank you so much for the introduction and for nudging us along. And I'm very thankful to the CEOs of the Idaho CEO group. Nate Garrett is here, Nate from Boise Cascade, and Charlene certainly named a few of them. They all really are extremely passionate about the objectives here as well. And Governor Otter, you called me last fall, wanting to make sure that Micron attends this College of Idaho event that Charlene was hosting at that time. Really, the collaboration between all of us, between the CEOs, between the government, between the various institutions is simply phenomenal, and today is really reflecting a great example of how businesses and community institutions can work together to build a workforce of the future and truly impact life in a way that is transformative for our communities, for our societies, and for people at large. Extremely impressed with what this college achieves in terms of what Charlene quoted, that 1/3 of the student population is first generation. 1/3 of the student population is students of color. And that's wonderful diversity, and it benefits all. It just does not benefit underrepresented groups. It actually benefits the entire college population, because when you have this diversity represented within your college, then you have diversity of thought, diversity of ideas, all of them represented based on your background, based on the experiences. And you know, to solve some of the biggest challenges in the world, you have to have that broad perspective, that deep perspective. So really, I think College of Idaho and the student population, the alumni, are truly gifted to have that opportunity to look deeper and broader, share the experiences of various communities, and ultimately truly lead to fulfilling experiences and impact that changes the world, shapes the world of the future. This very much aligns with what Micron is all about as well. People ask often that why diversity and inclusion is important to Micron. Diversity and inclusion is important to Micron, of course, because it is simply the right thing to do as human beings, but it is also an imperative for business success. You know that Micron was founded here, right here in Boise, Idaho, nearly 45 years ago. Micron today is a global leader in memory technology. And the hub of innovation, all of the innovation that drives leadership in memory technology, which is in your phone, it's in your PC, it's in your data center, it's in your car, it's everything electronic, has the kind of memory that Micron makes. But that innovation actually sprouts right here in Boise, Idaho. That innovation happens here because we have a team in Boise that is representing 65 different nationalities. Because we have that diversity here, we would like to listen to all the ideas, and then we say, may the best ideas win. And that's how you lead with innovation and with leadership across the world. So diversity, inclusion, belonging is really core to the DNA of Micron and is critical to the business success of Micron. And this is where I really feel that we are well aligned with the values, the core tenets of College of Idaho as well. And certainly I know that the CEO group, the Idaho CEO group is well aligned on this purpose as well. And I'm very proud today that Micron Foundation is able to support this initiative. Micron Foundation, since its inception, more than nearly 25 years ago now, has contributed about $185 million worldwide. Nearly half of that has, of course, been contributed here in the communities in Idaho. Of course, one of the primary focus areas for us is STEM education, because as Jim just referred to, we are going to be investing $15 billion over the course of the next 10 years and adding 2,000 jobs directly at Micron, but 15,000 jobs in the community as we build out and advance world's best-in-class manufacturing capability. That's going to require a lot of talent. That's going to require a workforce that is well-versed in STEM. And that's why our Micron Foundation has contributed heavily toward STEM, but it's not just STEM. It's also basic human needs. In fact, just last year, Micron Foundation touched 41,000 lives here in the state of Idaho alone, and of course, many, many more worldwide. So this is important for Micron Foundation, and I'm very proud today that we are able to take part in this Elgin and Elaine Baylor Opportunity Fund. And I want to really thank Mrs. Elaine Baylor here. We are so proud that we can partner with you today in this legacy of the Baylor family that we just heard from Jim about. And I read up a little bit on this too, and I really, truly remain extremely inspired by Elgin Baylor. He, of course, felt welcomed and included at the College of Idaho. And this is what all businesses need to be doing to make sure that everybody feels included in their workforce. And that's how we know that we're going to lead the world in whatever we do. I want to thank all of my partners at the Idaho CEO Group in supporting this. I really look forward to the tremendous opportunity that this will create for very many students, future generations to come, that will enjoy the benefit just like Elgin enjoyed in 1954. I want to also, at this point, really introduce one of the brightest students here. I got a chance to meet with him a short while ago, Abukar Mohammed. He's studying biomedical here at College of Idaho, has big dreams for the future, and I have no doubt that with the determination that he has and the determination that his family, his father had over the years, that he will achieve all of those dreams. So without further delay, I want to bring Abukar Mohammed here to share his experience at College of Idaho with us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Abukar Mohammed. I would like to tell you about how students like me could benefit from the Elgin Baylor Opportunity Fund. I'm a senior biomedical sciences major at the College of Idaho. My family has experienced our fair share of hardships. My parents emigrated from Lebanon when I was just 2 years old. All I have known is Idaho. This is my home. My father worked in Lebanon as a mechanical engineer for about 10 years. Unfortunately, when he brought us to the United States, he was told by potential employers that in order to work, he would have to recertify with US credentials. My father realized that this would make it very difficult to provide for us, as my mother did not understand English well enough to provide a source of income while he went back to school. Instead, he made a choice to work as a housekeeper and a line cook. This sacrifice has allowed my siblings and I to focus on our education without having money being our central worry. Throughout junior high and high school, I was enrolled in a program known as AVID, A-V-I-D. The acronym stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. I believe that AVID students would be excellent candidates for the Baylor Opportunity Fund. Being an AVID student helped me develop upon the work ethic that I learned from my father, an ethic that drives me to excel in all the things that I do. I believe that the Baylor Opportunity Fund will find a rich candidate pool within the AVID program. I was interested in the College of Idaho initially for its great reputation in preparing students for medical school. However, money does matter, and scholarships were a large part of my decision-making process when it came to college searches. And this is because it just makes college and education beyond high school more accessible. In my 4 years here, I have been very fortunate to have participated in both biomedical research as well as rural health care. I have also received a fantastic personalized education here at the college. I hope to return to the state of Idaho to practice medicine in an underserved community and pay forward the ticket of opportunity that I was given. I believe that the Elgin and Elaine Baylor Opportunity Fund would open the doors of higher education to students of working and immigrant backgrounds so that they can also get a fantastic experience and a great education while minimizing the financial burden that they face. I also believe that this will encourage our future leaders to stay in Idaho or to return to Idaho and make it a more welcoming and hopeful place for families like mine. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce the namesake of the Baylor Opportunity Fund. She was married to Elgin Baylor for 45 years until he passed away in 2021. Please welcome Elaine Baylor.
Good afternoon. I didn't prepare any notes. I guess I'm just going to speak from the heart because this is really touching. Elgin was an athlete, but he really, really believed in higher education. I think somewhere along the line of his playing pro ball, he realized that his talents and abilities were above average. And he said, everybody can't play basketball. They have to learn how to do something. And I remember one award he received. He said, "I thank the good Lord for making me the way I am, because I didn't make myself." I'm sorry. But we led a blessed life. Doors of opportunity were open during the time that many opportunities were not available to Black people. Elgin started out playing basketball with a tennis ball on a public court that he and his friends had to sneak into at night under the fence. They graduated to a volleyball. But that didn't stop him, and I would encourage him when he told me the story. I say, honey, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel deprived. I said, think about the hand-eye coordination that you gained. I said, there's something good that came out of that. But it was a matter of kids seeing the differences and the deprivation. Nonetheless, he kept on, and you know the rest of the story. He was not offered scholarships like many athletes, but through a really unusual series of happenings, he came to Idaho. Didn't know about Idaho, nothing. Was happy to have the scholarship to go to school. He was discouraged from basketball. His father thought it was foolishness. He used to tell his wife, Azal, "You're spoiling that boy. He's never going to get a job." Because a good job for Black people then was to work in the post office, or if you were lucky to be a school teacher. And Elgin didn't tend to do either one. He pursued what was in his heart and the burning fire he had in him to play this game. And he did. And he came here, and he was welcomed. He was embraced by the community. He loved what he was doing. And the team won. What could be a better situation? So it was all positive, it was all good, and it was the beginning. It was the beginning of a journey to great things. I went to school on scholarships, everything. My mother couldn't afford to send us to college, so we had to study to earn scholarships if we were going to go farther. Fortunately, the good people at Lincoln College and Tulane University supported me through getting a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work. When I met Elgin, I was a working social worker. Social workers had good ideals but no money because the field didn't pay any money. But we met in New Orleans, and that's where we eventually got married. What I want to say about education is that if a door opens, and this is definitely a big door, I am so happy to see so many people, so many organizations who are willing to support the Elgin and Elaine Baylor Opportunity Fund. I personally had no idea about what to expect. I'm just so happy that Jim and Doug persevered, kept at it, were not discouraged, but worked so hard to get commitments to the degree that we have now in less than a year, and that we're in a position to offer a 4-year scholarship to somebody. To the students, an open door doesn't mean it's an easy road. There will be hardships and things to overcome. There will be challenges. But that's life. It happens to all of us. It happens. But you have to persevere. You have to keep on going. And you don't turn around. You keep on going forward. Forward until you reach your goal. And I can guarantee that once you're educated, and education is so wonderful. It opens up your eyes to the world, to understanding so many things. It turns the light on. I see now why when you see a cartoon about a person who learns something, it's the light bulb that goes on in their head. Well, that's education. It opens up your mind. You can think. You see things. It's good. Elgin and I didn't start out with a whole lot of money. He had the potential. Like I said, I was a poor social worker. But, we were committed to making a good life for ourselves. And thank God for the foundation that we both had. We were able to progress, to walk through open doors, and to grow, to build on what we had, and to continue. And at this point, and I know Elgin would be moved to tears if he were here, to have his legacy to be a scholarship fund, that's open to all students, not just basketball players, not just athletes, but anyone who qualifies. That is monumental. And a legacy like that will live on beyond both of us is something that you only dream of. So I don't want to talk too much because I can go on and on and on. I was married to Elgin for 44 and a half years, so I've heard all the stories many times. But I am so happy and so grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this fund, supporting the Opportunity Fund. So when there's students who see an opportunity and they walk through the door, there's support that they can gain, grow, and move forward and enrich this community, this state, the organizations that are here. And by all of this, I'm sure the image of Idaho will change a bit for the better, for the better. I had no idea what Idaho was really like, but I see now that it's a great place with warm, loving, inviting people and opportunities that you find maybe more than other places. So my hope and prayer is that students will go through this program, successfully complete it, and enrich the community and everything that is here. So thank you for listening.
Wow. So I'm Doug Brigham. I'm the other half of the co-presidency at the College of Idaho, and thank you for those phenomenal comments, Elaine. It's a tough act to try and follow that. And there's a reason that you may have just realized that this is called the Elgin and Elaine Baylor Opportunity Fund. Elgin has an amazing story, but Elaine's is an amazing story as well, and I think you just got a taste of that just now. So we are so thrilled, so excited. As we draw this press conference to a conclusion, I want to announce where we are at. So as of today, thanks to both Sanjay and to Charlene and all of the CEO group that's here, I encourage you, look at the list up there. I'm going to read them because this is a great group. Micron, Blue Cross, Albertsons, Boise Cascade, Simplot, Idaho Power, St. Luke's, Kount, St. Al's, Crookham, the Dignitas Agency, Cradlepoint. Those are all companies right here in Idaho that are supporting this Opportunity Fund. And as of today, we are well over $1 million raised towards this fund on our way to a $25 million ultimate goal. So thanks to everybody for that. Now I get the pleasure, we're going to introduce the first recipient of this fund. And you heard from Abukar. Abukar mentioned that he came through the AVID program in the Boise School District. And thanks to Kobe Dennis and Stacy Roth who are here, we are partnering with the Boise School District and the AVID program to supply students for this Opportunity Fund. And these are students that are underrepresented, under-resourced, high potential. You heard from one, and you're going to meet one in just a minute. But these are great students who are going to get the opportunity, and it's a pleasure of mine. You see behind me, we have a number of our current students here, and they are very anxious to get back to class because we're keeping them from that. So they're really wanting me to go quickly with my comments. But this student that I'm going to announce in a second is going to be joining this crew next fall. And in 4 years, Elaine, you're going to sit on a stage like this, and this student's going to walk across that stage as a College of Idaho graduate, thanks to the support of this group. So it's my pleasure to introduce Nemo Abdi. She is a student at Capitol High School. She comes to us, she's got a great family and friends here. I think there's, Nemo, 17, if I heard correctly, that are here today. So she has a great group. And I want to read to you her application for this scholarship. I'm just going to read a couple of quick excerpts from it. I came to America at age 5. It was the start of an uphill battle gaining familiarity with a foreign land, language, and culture. Although I was working hard behind the scenes to catch up on learning, I still felt miles behind my peers. From a young age, my struggles of being an immigrant helped me lay the groundwork for a grit mindset. To be a scholar within the Elgin and Elaine Opportunity Scholarship Fund means far more than money received. Instead, it's an opportunity to utilize my education and experience to be a force for good in the world. With my love of microbiology research, I will share new ideas and perspectives with the world of medicine and help improve the lives of others through my findings. So with that, I'd ask if I could have Nemo just stand up and be recognized by the crowd. There she is. So thank you all for coming out. As we conclude, I am going to ask all of the folks that are representatives of the companies that are involved in the scholarship fund to come up front. We're going to take a group picture. Nemo, if you could bring your family and friends up, we'll have them join as well. And Governor Otter, if you could come up and join us. And then our students stay where you guys are at, and we'll take a big group photo and celebrate this moment. But thanks, everyone.